Now may I please invite on the dais Honorable Radhesham Das ji, our session chairman. So ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause for Radhesham Das ji. Now I would like to invite CA Amruta Kulkarni ma'am, MCM Pune branch of ICI, and Mr. Pratik, Joint Treasurer, Pune Vikasa. Come on everybody, let's put our hands together for all the dignitaries present on the stage.
Also, it is my great pleasure to welcome amongst us CA Kushal Lodha sir, who is going to be our faculty for the next session. Everyone, please welcome with a round of applause. Now, I would like to request CA Amrita Kulkarni ma'am to kindly open the session.
Thank you so much. Yes, it is a session wherein we will get many practical inputs. It is art of concentration in the age of distraction. Well, sir, I am equally eager to hear on this topic. Swami Vivekananda once have said that the power of concentration is the only key to the treasure house of knowledge. But today, while we all are doing multitasking with so much of mindfulness, it's really difficult because to talk in their own language, डोक्याची मंडई फार लवकर होते. So in this situation, how do we cope up with this? And the power of concentration, once when harnessed, becomes the key to success. But while we all are studying so hard in the age of digital media, the social media, it's really difficult to concentrate for more than 20 minutes. Kushal sir will also take up this problem, which we genuinely feel. Not only the students, the professionals, everyone is facing this issue of concentration. The concentration span for normal lectures was once upon a time 40-45 minutes, but now it is somewhere around roughly 15 to 20 minutes. And yes, the screen time, if at all we take a call of the screen time for everyone per day, per week, and per month, we are actually losing a most valuable time, but at the same time losing peace of our mind. So this session will definitely help you all to focus on the art of concentration in the age of distraction. Equally eager to hear from you, sir. Over to you. Thank you so much.
ज्ञान से तू फतेह कर, अरमानों की मंजिलों पर हौसलों से तू फतेह कर, समय के घेरे को तू समय से ही फतेह कर, ज्ञान से तू फतेह कर, ध्यान से तू फतेह कर, शान से तू फतेह कर.
On these lines, let us all put our hands together for Radhesham Das ji, our session chairman for the session Art of Concentration in the Era of Distractions. Over to you, sir.
ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. First of all, I offer my thanks to all these dignitaries, CA Sushil Kumar Goyal ji and CA Sridhar Muppala and CA Chandrasekhar V. Chitale ji and CA Kashinath Pathare, CA Maushmi Shaha, and all the other students who are organizing this event. It's a very big event, massive event, and a couple of days event I heard. And I'm also thankful to the organizers for giving me the opportunity to share something with all of you today. First of all, let us talk a little bit about the mind before we can get to the topic of concentration. You see, mind can be compared to a dam, or mind can be compared to a flood. Out of the two, which one has energy? Has flood got energy or the dam got energy? What do you say? Which has energy? Shakti. Flood or a dam? Okay, how many of you say dam? Raise a hand. Let us say. Okay. How many of you say flood? Okay. Actually, both of them have energy. Dam has potential energy and flood has kinetic energy. Both have energy, but out of the two, which one you think is constructive, which one is destructive? Dam is constructive and the flood is destructive. So you want your mind to be like the dam or the flood? Yeah, that's the main point here. If you can understand this point well, then as we sail through the session, it will be beneficial to you. Like you see, one doctor said, when you become extremely angry, it is like running 5 miles distance. That much energy you spend when you lose your temper on somebody. And the same is true when you are feeling greed and your mind is extremely disturbed. I went to market yard in Pune. In one of the shops, one millionaire was sitting. He has a heart problem. But in his shop, he has got this stock market situation going on a TV screen. So as the rates are rising and going down, his heart is also like this. So he's getting affected by it. So I told him, sir, you have a heart problem. Why do you keep this in front of you? So he said, what can I do? I can't do without it. But he's facing problem, which means he is actually draining his energy due to the emotion of greed. You can see that. Similarly, due to the emotion of anger. So these are all negative forces in our system which drains our energy. One of the highly draining agents is the modern day distractors. There are many distractors. The social media is one of the biggest distractors, needless to talk about it. So, all of you students here, CA students, you're all very brilliant students. You will see that you have tremendous energy. But oftentimes you see that like a flood, wastefully employed. Just like a flood carries away the cattle, destroys the houses, kills people. It has energy, but the energy is misused or misapplied energy. That's not what we want. Similarly, you all have energy in your mind, but it would be wiser to make it like a dam. Conserve your energies. Protect your energies. I don't say don't use it. Employ it fruitfully, meaningfully, purposefully, in a direction in which you would achieve your results. Just like in the dam you have for irrigation purposes, you open and you let the water, isn't it? And then whenever you don't need it, you close it. Here comes a very important point, which is regulation. Like in your gas cylinder, we have a regulator, right? When you want the gas, you open it. When you don't want, you close it. So here is a clue which I will explain later. This one word, regulation, you can remember. Based on this example of flood and the dam. Is flood regulated? Is flood regulated? No. But the dam is stored energy which is regulated. Time to time you release it. So mind has to be regulated. We will talk about it a little later when we come to the solution part. Another thing about the mind, just like the dam example I gave you and the flood example I gave you, in the same manner you can compare your mind to an elephant. Because you can see elephant sometimes gives even Ashirwad, blessings also. You have seen that? Sometimes on the elephant back they keep God, for the processions and all. Sometimes you see the elephant lifts a trunk of wood and can carry it along. Sometimes the elephants are used in many festivals and all. It's a very wonderful animal, friendly animal, human friendly. Even children go and give a coin to the elephant and get a blessing on their head. But the same elephant, dear friends, when the elephant becomes wild, it can be extremely destructive. It can lift a scooter and throw it. It can destroy an auto or a car. It can kill people actually. When an elephant goes berserk, they shoot the elephant next moment, because it's a very dangerous animal. So your mind is certainly as powerful as an elephant. You can make your mind a constructive elephant or a destructive elephant, which means I mean to say a trained elephant or a mad elephant. So choice is yours, how you want your mind to be. Mind, good news for you is your mind is trainable. Just as an elephant is trainable, mind is also trainable. So I gave you a couple of examples till now. The example of the flood and the dam. Then I gave you the example of the good elephant and a mad elephant, isn't it? So our mind is compared to the elephant in the Gita. Pramati, Arjuna says that. So in the Gita, Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asks the question to Lord Krishna. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balabadridham tasyaham nigraham manye vayori vasudushkaram. He's telling, my dear Lord Krishna, this mind is as powerful as an elephant. It is as naughty as a child, he says. And it is as crazy as a madman. And how do I deal with this mind and make it focused and one-pointed and not distracted? It is almost like a whirlwind which I am unable to control. That's what Arjuna said. Like a whirlwind, sometimes in New Orleans, you all might have heard a few years ago, how the whirlwind created a big havoc, so much of destruction. So my mind is like that, he says. So Krishna, in response, tells Arjuna, I agree with you, Arjuna. Yes, it is indeed true that mind is really very, very powerful. But you can elevate yourself with the mind. You don't have to degrade yourself with the mind. Just like you take a key, you can use the key to open a room and enter the room. Or you can use the key to lock somebody in the room. Similarly, the mind can liberate you, mind can bind you. Mind can free you, mind can bind you, he said. So mind is like a knife. A knife can be, is knife good or bad? Can you say that? Is knife good or bad? In the hand of a surgeon, knife is very valuable. In the hand of a thief or a murderer, knife can be very deadly. The very same knife. So that's the good news Lord Krishna gave him. He said, yes, your mind can be used for elevating yourself and concentrating in a one-pointed way, focused way. It is possible. But if you don't train the mind, the very same mind will drag you down. For example, now I am introducing one more term, desires. You can see that it's not wrong to have a desire, but it is not good to become a slave of a desire. Like you all have smartphone with you. Is smartphone your servant or you are the servant of your smartphone? Ask yourself. When you purchase a smartphone first time, you intended to make it your servant, to fulfill your purposes. But eventually, you will see that as time progresses, the very same phone can become a menace for many people. It can distract you from your studies. It can distract you from your duties. We give up our duties and get distracted by some flickering, temporary instinctive pleasures which take our time away. Just like, for example, I am writing a very important article. Suddenly some pop-up comes. Then I go to the pop-up and I get distracted. And it is common for all of us. You all understand what I am saying. So, we often lose track of our priorities. The main reason is we have become slave of our desires. So, when the mind becomes a slave, for example, somebody becomes a slave of smoking. Somebody becomes a slave of drinking. Somebody becomes a slave of drugs. Somebody becomes a slave of the smartphone. Similarly, somebody becomes a slave of many of the pop-ups which come. And it is a kind of habit formation. You repeatedly do an activity over and over again, then you get into a set pattern from which we are unable to come out. But the good news again, I tell you, good habits also can, when you repeat them, they become part of your system. So here comes the main point. If you cultivate a good habit over and over and over again, I'll tell you, for example, when I get up in the morning, where I sleep in the ground in my room, as soon as I get up, I wind up my bed, keep it in a particular place. A place for everything and everything in its place. I stick to that. And then I immediately throw the water and wipe it with a wiper and put on the fan. And I've been doing it last 5-6 years, I am doing it. And I repeatedly did it. Now this good habit has become a second nature. My hands and legs do the thing without even my endeavor. So this is the way the good habits are. If you cultivate good habits, they become your second nature. And you don't have to endeavor at all to do them. In the beginning, there's a bit of a struggle. But once you cultivate it, it's very easy. That's the nature of habit. You see the word habit. Remove the H, habit remains. Remove A, bit remains. Remove B, it remains. That's the nature of habit. Once you cultivate it, it won't go away. It will just stick on with you. So why not cultivate good habits? So good habit in this subject matter of concentration means one thing at a time. Eat while you eat. Sleep while you sleep. Study while you study. Play while you play. Don't mix up things. Say, for example, some of your friends go to Lonavala for an excursion. And one of the boys is telling, hey, next week examination is coming, I am in tension. So you may tell him, you are in Lonavala, why are you bothering about the exam next week? Still there is time. Now enjoy the time in Lonavala. Now you all have come back from the excursion. Now tomorrow is the examination. Imagine the same boy comes to you and says, hey, how wonderful Lonavala was. We saw the waterfalls and greenery, everything was wonderful. You may say, hey, now forget about it, now study for the exam. And this is what happens with all of us. You will see that night when you are lying down, you don't get sleep because you didn't study well during the day. In the daytime, because you didn't sleep well in the night, you are feeling sleepy in the day. Therefore, I was telling all of you, one thing at a time. This is one aspect of concentration. Say, for example, I am taking a teapot of oil. Now I have to transfer this oil to another big, what do you call that, teapot? Teapot, you know that? Yeah. So when you transfer it, the oil goes like this, gubuk, gubuk, gubuk. You've seen that? So I need that concentration. Otherwise, I won't be able to put the oil properly. It will go outside. Similarly, welding also requires concentration. You know welding? If you make it little away, it will not weld at all. If you take it very close, it will stick. So you need just to keep just 1 millimeter or so distance. And then you can continuously weld like that. It requires concentration. When you do such things like welding or pouring oil from one vessel to another, especially when there's a small hole, you have to be very attentive. In the same manner, you need a seamless consciousness to have a focus on doing one thing at a time. And the main reason why we are unable to do one thing at a time is we have cultivated distraction. We have got habituated to distraction of doing multiple things when we are doing. So nowadays people think that I can do multiprocessing. But the problem in multiprocessing is when you do multiple things, the quality of work reduces. The quality of attention, quality of work. Then we end up doing, we create a mess in doing anything. So keep in mind this one thing at a time. And the second thing that I want to tell you about, how there are 3 components of concentration. If you can focus on these 3 components well, you'll be very successful and able to concentrate on anything that you do. You all can repeat after me. Attraction, attention, absorption. So these 3 things follow one after another. You are going to be attentive only to something which attracts you. If it is not attractive, your attention span is going to be very less. Like right now I am speaking to all of you. If the subject matter doesn't make sense to you, you'll be looking at the clock. When will this fellow get over? But if the subject matter is of interest to you, you are able to connect with me and you understand the examples that I give, then you will feel, oh, this is wonderful. It's going to help me. So anything that we all do, attention is the second thing. The first thing is attraction. So you all want to do your subjects. Are you sufficiently interested in it or not? If you're not interested, go to your student who is enthusiastic about the subject, who is thrilled about the subject, who prepares very nicely on the subject and who can even teach you, share with you. Then that person can create interest in you. Your interest can be awakened. So make sure that whatever you want to focus on, you're interested first of all. Then the attention, when you're paying attention on one thing, as I again told you, one thing at a time when you're doing. If you pay attention to that, you will do well. Distraction means alternative attraction. That's the definition of distraction. So there are many pleasurable things in the world which are destructive and not good for us. And there are not so pleasurable things, painful things, which we call as duty, which are very good for us. For example, a little example. Children like to play or to study? What do you think? They like to play. Parents want them to study or to play? Study. So what should the children do? They should do a combination. Study when you study, play while you play, allot a time for everything. And stick to the timing. Here comes the point of sticking to the discipline. So make a discipline for yourself. I'm going to study this many hours. I'm going to play this many hours. I have time for this, and we have to stick to that, and we need discipline. Discipline requires determination. Without determination and willpower, you can't stick to your discipline. It's very easy to make a plan, but to stick to the plan is difficult. You know, one man went to a gym on 1st January, and it was completely full. There was no place. So he was very frustrated. The gym owner told him, "Don't be frustrated, sir. Come next week. Half these fellows will not be coming. They have taken a new year resolution to come every day, but next week you will see half of them will be gone," he said. So people make resolutions, but they don't stick to it because they don't have the discipline and determination. They don't have it. So where do we get the determination and the willpower to do anything? Here comes a very important point. Think deeply about it. You know, in Sanskrit there are some words, specific words I'm going to tell you now. Dharana Shakti means ability to grasp. And Vichara Shakti means ability to think and analyze. Similarly, Smriti Shakti means to have a retentive power. So first of all, whatever you study, you should be able to grasp it and hold it. Grasp also means, dharana means to hold also. Grasp and hold. And Smriti means to recollect when you want it. Vichara Shakti means to be able to analyze it. Viveka Buddhi means to be able to discriminate it. Actually, all these things come from one very important quality, which you call as celibacy or brahmacharya, we call it. Actually, brahmacharya means one should not waste one's vital fluid from the body unnecessarily, which is the 7th component in Ayurveda, it says. Rasa, Rakta, Majja, Meda, Asti, and finally there is Shukra, we call it. So, our concentration becomes completely multi-branched and distracted when one does not keep a purity in character. So when one maintains a purity in character, purity in habits, especially eating, sleeping, mating, defending, in these 4 activities, if you keep purity, you will see concentration will be boosted 1,000,000 times more. Like I remember in our early days when we hear a class, you know, we used to make notes every line and then try to recollect. Over the years, we saw that we can hear a whole class for 1 hour and repeat all the points from the class, simply by hearing. And that type of ability can be developed, provided you cultivate purity in these 4 activities. Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. For example, modern day people are eating a lot of junk food, which is very unhealthy for the body, although titillating for the tongue. Actually, the foods that we eat produce a certain effect in your mind. Ahara shuddhau satpashuddhi, satpashuddhau dhruva smriti lambe grantinam vipramokshaha. This verse says that you should eat that food which purifies your mind, calms your mind. Some foods are calming, some foods are agitating. If you eat, for example, pickles, that agitates the mind. Similarly, you eat jalebi, for example, titillates the tongue. These have agitating nature. Of course, you may eat in small quantity. But the staple foods like, for example, rice, dal, sabji, chapati, daily foods we eat, milk, sugar, these kind of things. So when these foods, vegetative foods, for example, when they're eaten, they keep the mind calm. And the foods which produce adrenaline, you know adrenaline? Adrenaline is actually not a good hormone. There are 2 hormones, adrenaline and endorphins. Adrenalines are harmful hormones. They increase the blood pressure and cause heart attack and things like that. And endorphins are pleasure hormones. They give you happiness. These 2 different hormones are produced according to what you put inside. If you put products of violence, like the animal products and things like that, they increase passion in us. They agitate the mind. So this is about eating. And about sleeping also. How many of you know early to bed and early to wise makes you healthy, wealthy? Early to bed and early to rise makes you healthy, wealthy, and wise, isn't it? So doctors say that 9 to 12 sleep is equivalent to 6 hours of sleep. And 12 to 3 sleep is equal to 3 hours of sleep. 3 to 6 in the morning is equal to 1.5 hours of sleep. And beyond 6 in the morning, your sleep is useless because sun is already up in the sky. So we have to sleep with the sun and rise with the sun. Unfortunately, many students nowadays sleep at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. So 10 to 2, sleep is very vital for replenishment of your body, recuperation of your body. You can go to the YouTube and check why top-notch CEOs like Apple company CEOs and all rise at 4 a.m. in the morning. That's the time your creativity level is at the peak in the morning. You can think well, you can be innovative, you can be creative. The early morning hours when the whole world is sleeping. Even the global gossip is absent in the morning. All the smartphones are also sleeping along with the people. So you can think well. You can be very creative. You can be very innovative in the early morning hours. Like I sleep at 9 and get up at 3 in the morning. I've been doing it last 30 years. And once I get up at 3, I can work for 18 hours at a stretch without lying flat on the ground anytime. So your efficiency can be very high. So eating, sleeping, and the third one, mating, I said. Of course, the scriptures, the wisdom literature say marriage is never condemned. But a man should marry a woman and they should live peacefully without entering into illicit relationships. In these days, illicit relationships are increasing. That's one of the very high mind-agitating factors in the current times. Definitely, as soon as there is a triangular love or illicit connections, then one's mind is very distracted, highly distracted. And also it's unclean. And it can lead to complications, diseases and all. And then the defending means unnecessarily we should not go from need to greed, because going from need to greed leads to bleed. You will see that. So I remember when I heard there's a place called Belgaum. You know Belgaum? So there is a farm. We have a big farm. In that farm, they were growing sugarcane. So one time an elephant from the forest came and saw, oh, there is plenty of sugarcane, I want to eat it. Of course, the elephant gets a lot of grasses in the forest, but the elephant wanted sugarcane. Occasionally, he would get one or two sugarcanes when the lorries go. They would throw a sugarcane to the elephant. So now he wanted to eat the sugarcane. Then he saw it was all fenced by barbed wires all around. The elephant went round and round. He couldn't get it. So then, do you know what he did? He sat between two poles, that stone poles, and with his body he did like this, like this, and then he knocked down two poles. And then he entered. Then he tore his legs with the sharp, steel wires, and he hurt himself. It was bleeding. Because he was greedy for the sugarcane, he had to bleed. You see? Similarly, you will see most of the students make unhealthy comparisons with other students. See, if somebody is a topper, somebody is cracking exams, they are gifted with some brain, let them do it. You think about your progress. Don't try to pull anyone down. You think how you can progress. This is what we learn in the Srimad Bhagavatam. There was one boy, Dhruva, small boy, 5-year-old Dhruva. His mother told him, never think of, like a crab pulling anyone else down. If you want to progress, you go to God, you pray to Him, you get empowerment, and you grow in your life. So you can be peaceful in your mind, she said. So the point is, you can defend yourself, but don't attack others. You can make a healthy comparison, but not unhealthy comparison. You know what is healthy comparison? Somebody is better than you, go and take help from them. Somebody is inferior to you, help them. Unhealthy comparison means somebody is better than me, I'll pull him down. Unhealthy comparison, inferior ones means you ridicule them, mock at them. Don't do that. So in this way you will see these 4 habits of eating, sleeping, mating, defending. If you purify these 4 habits, then this leads to a pure mind. Here at this point, I want to say a little bit about the mind. 3 things are very important to know: soul, mind, body. Now the soul is the real person. Every one of you sitting here, you will see that you are conscious that I am speaking to you, you are hearing. Whereas this sofa on which you are sitting is not conscious. If the sofa were conscious, the sofa will shout at you, hey, why are you sitting on my head? He will ask you. The sofa is dead, whereas you are conscious. So who is the conscious entity who is hearing? He is called as Atman, or soul, or spirit we call. And the spirit is seated in this bodily machine. So surrounding the spirit is mind, and surrounding the mind is the gross body, which you see in a mirror. Now why this gross body and the mind is with you, with the spirit? Because you store your desires in the mind and you execute them with your body. Like for example, my hands and legs are like servomotors. I exercise my desires. So the mind is like a hard disk where I store my desires. And the body is for executing my desires. Is that clear to everybody? Like for example, I want to play a piano, I have a desire. Then I get a piano and play with my hands. I want to play football, I have a desire. I kick a football and I play. So the bodily parts are for exercising the desire. And the mind stores the desire. Now why do you need to know this? Because if you really want to attain concentration, you need to know the way the mind functions. Then it becomes very easy for you. So in our mind, if there are desires which are detrimental for us, and those desires become like, imagine you went into a mosquito net, but along with you some few mosquitoes also entered with you. Your whole night's sleep will be finished. Similarly, these mosquito-like desires in our mind are the cause of our distractions. So, therefore, when we are talking about concentration, one has to know this fact that there are two stages of the mind, a calm mind or agitated mind. So we want which mind for concentration? Calm mind or agitated mind? Calm mind, you see. Like if I am holding a lens like this, a magnifying glass, and I take the diffused rays of the sun and I put it into the magnifying glass and focus it on one point, that one point can burn a paper or a carton. On the other hand, if I put the paper on the top of my house, even on the hot sunny day at noon time, still the sun cannot burn the paper. Why? Can any of you say? I am putting it right under the sun. It cannot burn it. Why? Yes? Focus is not there. Correct, no? Because it's all diffused sun rays. That means if my thoughts are all diffused in different direction, I don't have Shakti, no power. But if I can focus them into a lens and focus it at focal point, then I can burn. That is called concentration, we call it. So, now if my mind is like that lens, imagine if I shake the lens like this, will I get focus? If I shake my lens like this, will I get focus? That's our problem. When our mind is agitated, we don't get concentration. When the mind is stable, then you can get concentration. So how do you make the mind stable? This is where I wanted to say about two things I told you. In the beginning of my talk, I told you regulation. Regulate your desires. There are things, say for example, there are some certain habits which are very dangerous for us. Neither for our mind they are good, nor for our body they are good. They all are mind agitating. So, there are 4 activities you can remember. Gimi, G-I-M-I, you can remember. Gambling, illicit sex, meditating, intoxication. So, gambling, why gambling is agitating to mind? Because you get a lot of money or you lose all your money. Therefore, mind is agitated. And illicit sex is agitating because there is always a threat in illicit relationships. You are not peaceful in the mind. And meat eating, because the product of the animal product, for example, is a product of violence and fear. When you kill an animal, the animal is afraid. And the animal cannot save itself, it shows the teeth to you. So that's violence and fear, both. That's called adrenaline is produced by that. So therefore, that is also mind agitating. And fourthly, the intoxications like smoking, drinking, drugs, these are very, very mind agitating. Because they take the mind like that, they give a kick to you, you go up, you feel that you are very powerful now. Like a drunkard thinks, I am the most powerful. Even a small boy can knock him down just by one slap. So it gives you a kick and then it brings you not here, it takes you to depression zone. Then you drink more, again you go up. Again you come to further depression. Then you drink much more, you become alcoholic. Similarly, smoking also. It initially gives you a stretching of the nerves, makes you feel it's very nice. But then it takes you to depression, then you become a chain smoker. So we don't want to become chain smokers or alcoholics or drug addicts, because none of these things truly help you. They will only harm you. They will hurt you, harm you, destroy you, and they will be very mind agitating, mind polluting, and they take away your concentration. Many students are not aware of these things, how they are losing their concentration because of these bad habits. So, therefore, now bad habits you have to avoid. So 3 things you can do. For example, I keep away from tempting habits altogether. That's the best thing. And or if I go to places where these bad activities are done, it will be a little difficult for me to control myself. And if I keep friendship with those who do these activities, it is sure shot thing that I will also fall prey to these things. So ultimately it is your choice. What do you want to do with your life? What do you want to do with your mind? So don't put anything into the mind that is agitating to the mind. Therefore I gave you a clue. Gimme, G-I-M-I. Gambling, meditating, intoxication, illicit sex. Those are the 4 things I told you. These are all impure activities. So now, what should we keep in the mind that will make the mind calm? You will see that in all the dharmas worldwide, there is a prayer to God, there is a meditation, which is very mind calming. Like for example, if you go to Alcoholic Anonymous or Narcotic Anonymous and all, even they admit that there are certain habits we can only surpass by praying to the Almighty or the Supreme and draw that energy from the Supreme and take that help by kneeling down, by bowing down, by offering a prayer, which is springing from the heart. So meditation is a very powerful form. Like we do mantra meditation in our japa beads, we do. In every religion you will find they have some mantra which they chant, and they take out a little time of the day, maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So by doing this, your mind becomes very calm, cool, collected, especially if we do it in the early morning hours. Of course, I do mantra meditation, chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra I do. Some people do calm meditation also. Calmly they sit and take deep breathing exercises they do, pranayama and yogasanas they do, and they calm the mind. So one has to bring mind to a steady state. Once you make the magnifying glass or the lens, you make it in such a way that you don't shake it. Don't do anything that unnecessarily disturbs the mind. For example, if there is a lake which has no ripples, the moon in the sky can be clearly visible in the lake. But if the ripples are present on the waves, then you can't see the moon. Moon also will appear to be shattered or broken like that. So you all want to concentrate in a one-pointed way. It's called as Vyavasayatmika Buddhir Yekeha Kurunandana. Krishna is telling. There is a Vyavasaya Buddhi, Avyavasaya Buddhi. One is singular branched, another one is multi-branched. You want which one? One thing at a time or multiple things all ringing in the head, you end up doing nothing. You want to do one thing at a time. So, Bahushakahi Anantasya Buddhiyo Avyavasayinam, he says, don't have too many things going up, you end up doing nothing. If you want to have one-pointed concentration, keep your mind calm, cool, collected. And for that you need, one thing I told you, bad habits, give it up. Good habits, you should know which are the good habits, list them. And what are the things which are regulatable activity, like eating should be regulated, sleeping should be regulated. For that you need discipline. So I used some specific words and solutions today, which is discipline. I used one word, habits. Another word I used is regulation. If you are not regulated, we are definitely going to be ruined. You will see that, like you can, nowadays students don't like the word discipline or regulation. They think, no, we want to be free bird. Why do you restrict us? Actually, these are restrictive principles of freedom. They give you actually freedom. Say, I want to send a kite up in the sky. Do you cut it with a blade and throw it in the sky? Is that what you do? Or you take a spool and slowly release it? What do you do? Yeah? You use a spool or you just cut it and throw it? If you cut it with the blade, it will go and get stuck in a tree. So that means you keep control. So there is a control in the kite. In the garden also you see they do trimming of the plants. Then only they look nice. If you don't trim them, they will grow unevenly everywhere. You will see that in a road also there is a traffic police to control the traffic. If there were no traffic police, there will be either traffic jam or an accident. Similarly, I told you about the flood and the dam, I told you. Discipline, regulation, and good habits, these things are very conducive for a calm, cool, collected mind and meditation, I told you. These things are very, very conducive. When you can keep your mind very calm, then you will be able to be focused on one thing at a time. Now I am going to conclude my talk with one last thing. I told you 3 things: attraction, attention, and actually there are 4 A's: attraction, attention, absorption, and awareness. That's the 4th one. So from attraction comes attention. So develop attraction for whatever you want to focus on, concentrate on, and go to those who have attraction, associate with them when you got the attention. And absorption means what? the one thing at a time which I told you. You should be so absorbed that you don't know what's happening around you. That's the meaning of absorption. And awareness means what? You should know the purpose behind what you're doing. Then only you will be able to do it with full consciousness. Like I am coming from a temple in Kathraj Kondwa. We have a ISKCON New Vedic Cultural Center. So one of the days I went during the construction of the temple. I saw 3 masons doing the construction. I asked one of them, "What are you doing?" He said, "I am building a wall," he said. Another fellow, I asked him, "What are you doing?" He said, "I am building a hall," he said. Third one, I asked him, "What are you doing?" He said, "I am so blessed in my life. I am building a temple for the Lord," he said. So out of the 3 fellows, whom do you think has full awareness? First one or second one or third one? The third one. Is it not true? So he could do it with full-blown consciousness, with a very joyful heart. Every day when he comes and puts the bricks and builds the temple, he thinks, "I'm building a temple for the Lord." So in your life also, when you are acting in your life, doing your work, do it as an offering to God. Don't do it mindlessly. Don't do it unconsciously. Don't do it just for the sake of earning money or for filling up the belly, which most students nowadays don't have a very clear purpose or goal in life. So when you have a goal in life, then you can live for that cause, meaningfully, purposefully. You can live. So that is called awareness, we call it. So your life has 2 pictures, a larger picture and a smaller picture. You know what it is? One small kid was playing in the seashore, making a sand castle. The waves of the ocean came and washed off that sand castle. Just imagine how pained that child must be. But at the same time, mother and father came and told the child, "Beta, it's getting dark now. We are going home now, come." So the boy just dusted off his hands in the seashore and then went with the parents in the car. Now you tell me, is that small boy's relationship with the seashore or with the parents? Tell me. With the parents. With the seashore, it's a temporary relationship. But with the parents, it's a long-lasting relationship. Why I am telling you this example, in Kota, Rajasthan, this year, 20 boys committed suicide. Do you know that? In 1 year. 20 students. In IIT Hyderabad also, 3 students committed suicide in 2019. These people are seeing only small picture in life. They are not seeing a larger picture. They are only thinking academics is everything. If I fail in my academics, hang myself. Because they can't see anything bigger. They are blind. They are like a frog in the well, Kupamanduk. They can't see a bigger picture. So whenever you go to colleges, I tell the students, see, academics is one part of your life. Then there is entertainment in your life. Then there is relationship with your parents. Then relationship with God. You have your hobbies. You have your sports. There are so many aspects of your life. Why do you think academics is the only thing? So my request to all of you students, see a smaller picture of life, larger picture of life. The larger picture is that God has created this world with a purpose. And what is the purpose? Like rainwater is pure in the sky. When it touches the ground, it becomes muddy. Similarly, we all are originally pure. But we have come to this world and picked up many unwanted misgivings and we have become polluted. And by meditation, by chanting, by good habits, as I told you, you can actually again purify yourself and bring yourself to the original spiritual plane from where we have fallen. And in that plane, you will experience boundless happiness. And you will have full concentration, full awareness, and meaningful, purposeful life. So our relationship is with God, from whom we have come here. Our relationship is not with this world. It's a temporary relationship. Of course, this is also important. You make a balance between the two, between material and spiritual. Like a railway line has 2 lines, material and spiritual. Make a balance of the two and attain the ultimate destination. And don't see only the smaller picture of children who may be foolish in seeing only a smaller picture. That way you will never commit suicide even in the face of failures. Like students jump high when they get success in life. But I would also say you should develop inner courage to face failures in life when you face them. And not just kill yourself foolishly when you have to face inevitabilities in life. So in conclusion, this topic of avoiding distraction and having one-pointed concentration. I spoke on many things, but I don't want these things to flow out of your mind. In order for you to remember them, I am recollecting 1 or 2 points at the end, and we conclude the talk now in 2-3 minutes. I began with telling you about the flood and the dam. So both have energy, but the flood has destructive energy. The dam has constructive energy. So we want to make ourselves like a dam. We don't want to waste our energy. So that was one point I said. Then I gave the example of an elephant. An elephant can be trained good elephant or an untrained mad elephant. Our mind can be like a mad elephant, which we don't want it to be. We want our mind to be like a trained elephant. So that trained elephant is very favorable and human friendly and all that. So let our mind be friendly with ourselves and with everybody else. And also I told you about the body, mind, soul. This body which you see in the mirror and the mind you possess, these two are two instruments God has given you. Use them wisely. You are storing desires in your mind and executing those desires in your body. So use both these instruments very intelligently, very wisely, very carefully, cautiously. Don't misuse them. That was one of the points I was making. Then I was telling you also about how in the mind there are certain agents. If you put, the mind can be very agitated. Mind can really, just like for example, I told you if you put helium in a balloon, it will fly up. If there is no helium, it will be flat on the ground. Similarly, in the mind, some impure things you put, immediately the mind will take off, it will get agitated. So don't put agitating elements into the mind. In that connection, I told you, gimme, gambling, intoxication, meat eating, illicit sex. These activities actually are mind polluting, mind agitating, and the mind destroying. So avoid these activities, I was telling you. And also, I was telling you the secret of concentration is one thing at a time. Don't try to do multiprocessing. Do one thing at a time. Eat while you eat, sleep while you sleep, study while you study, play while you play. Do one thing at a time. And whatever you do it with full absorption. Then I told you about 4 A's. Attraction, attention, then awareness and absorption. And I explained each of these items to you. All these 4 components put together is called concentration. You do one thing at a time. That leads to one thing at a time. And also I told you, one who is pure in mind can concentrate on one thing very nicely. And who is pure in mind? One who is pure in habits. And who is pure in habits? One who is pure in eating, sleeping, mating and defending, these 4 activities. So then I told you about what we should eat. Certain items, like I told you, vegetarian foods and milk and sugar and all these things calm the mind. Don't put agitating foods into your system. Then I told about sleeping. Sleep early, rise early. And your body will be healthy. Like I am telling you, last 30 years, I sleep only 6 hours a day, 18 hours I can work. And these 6 hours I choose in such a way that I get sufficient good sleep. So many students actually hurt their bodies because of lack of good sleep. Early to bed and early to rise. Then I told you about mating habit. Illicit sex means sex before marriage and sex outside marriage. Both are abandoned, both are condemned actually. One is allowed to marry, but no sex outside marriage or sex before marriage. Sex should be within marriage. Then it is licit, otherwise it is illicit otherwise. So, and also I told you about the virya or the semen. Unnecessarily, this is the 7th dhatu, it's like the butter. You see, from milk you make dahi, from dahi you make butter. Butter should not be thrown out. Similarly, in your body, when you produce the 7th component, preserve it, and that amounts to concentration. You will be completely unaffected by the world around you if you preserve your purity. Don't waste your energy. And I also told you, don't waste your energy with anger, lust, greed, and all these things which agitate the mind. Don't destroy the energies, keep the energies and use them in a very fruitful way, positive way. And then I use some specific terms, habits, discipline, regulation. Each of it I explained with many examples for you. So it is possible for every one of you to be very concentrated in whatever you do in your life as students by regulating your life and making it in a way that your mind becomes calm, cool, collected, and focused and concentrated. And I offer my praise to Lord Krishna that He blesses every one of you in achieving success in your earnest endeavors. And I thank all the organizers offering me an opportunity. Thank you. Is there a time for question and answers?
Uh, any of you have questions for sir? You can ask for 5 minutes. Yes. Students, don't you have any questions to sir? Mic दे दो उनको.
Hello. Hello, sir. First of all, really thank you for the insightful session and the wonderful words which you said. My question to you was, so sometimes we end up taking a decision which we regret later. Yeah. So how do we overcome the regret? Even like, how do we know that it's the right thing for us to do or not? And what if we end up overthinking that? How can we overcome that regret? And the second thing is sometimes we have to prioritize things, and there are a lot of things, and we are really confused, especially the youth today. And I know me and my friends, there are a lot of things we're confused in. So how do we make the right choice, keeping the priorities in our mind?
Good. Two brilliant questions from you. Thank you. So let us give an example for the first one. You know, in my school days, one of my friends, you know, he was a genius in mathematics, you know. So he came from the examination hall and said, today I answered all the 4 questions, I am going to get center marks, he said. Then one of his friends told him, hey, today were 5 questions, how do you say 4? Then he showed the paper, and then this fellow, his friend turned around and showed 5th question was there, which this fellow didn't notice. Then he immediately ran to the exam hall and told, Madam, can I finish the 5th question? Madam told him that, you see, once you get out of the exam hall, we can't allow you again. And this boy was shattered. For 2 years he suffered, you know, because of the regret, as you said. You know, he said, oh, I know the question, but I didn't turn the paper because they didn't put PTO, you know, please turn over, they didn't put. So he cried and cried, and every day evening he would come back home and he would be crying, and that affected the quality of his life very much. So what our wisdom literature say about it, there are 2 words used specifically, lamentation and regret. These 2 are 2 different words. Lamentation means going into a downward spiral of depression. You know, it is not uplifting, it is not rewarding. But regret and repentance and remorse, these are good words, because if I commit a mistake, at least for a few moments I should feel bad about it, so that I don't repeat it again. And also I should be able to learn some good lessons from the mistake. And should I commit any more mistakes in future? Yes, I can commit, but I should commit a new one, not the old one again, because I have already learned from the old mistakes. So there are 2 gunas, sattva guna and tamo guna, we call it. In tamo guna, we end in an endless, downward spiral of lamentation, which is that's what was happening to Arjuna in the beginning of the battle of Kurukshetra. He was getting into depression mode. So Lord Krishna spoke to him and stopped him from the depression and pulled him out, you know. Get out of it. He said, who doesn't commit mistake in this world? We are not God to be all perfect. You know, we are humans, and to err is human. We know that. You heard the saying, to err is human, forgive is divine. You know. So, yes, if I committed a mistake, how can I learn from it? How can I come out of it? How I can not repeat it? And then how I can be more careful and cautious in future. So that is very constructive and rewarding and uplifting thought. That's the first question. So the second one about prioritizing, we all are going to make priorities based on your awareness about life. What you, like somebody thinks money is everything for him. You know, his wife is telling, today is my birthday, can I come home early at 7 o'clock? He says, no, I can't come before 10 because I am getting money, you know. For him, he is money-centered in his life. Somebody is relationship-centered. For the sake of relationship, he will forego money also. There are people like that. Somebody is friend-centered. Somebody is enemy-centered. Enemy-centered people all the time keep working on how to attack the enemy, trouble the enemy like that. So everybody is different, having different center, off-center or eccentric, we call it. They all have different centers. Then what is the correct center? We should call it as a principal center. So we should know what are the universal laws, principles. If you keep them at the center, your life will be a very happy one. I will tell you very precisely. I call it as a super leader, I call it. Sacred, universal principles for enlightenment and reformation. That is super. Sacred, universal principles for enlightenment of the head and reformation of the heart. So one principle I'll tell you, one such principle. It's called conformity with God and unity with all. This is one such principle. Like this, there are hundreds of principles like that, universal laws. So if you make them the center of your life, and then make your priorities accordingly, then your life would be very rewarding and very happy one. You will see that. For example, if you are in a family, for example, you can focus on 4 things in life. If you focus only on the body, doing yoga and keep yourself healthy, then one is called as a good animal, we call it. Animals also keep the body well. And if one is focusing attention on one's profession, like chartered accountancy you all are doing, and you top the rank and you are very smart, then you are called as a good craftsman. You are good in that field. And if you are very good in your relationships with family, friends and circle and everything, you are called as a good friend. And if you take out time and do meditation and connect with God, you are called as a good saint. So if you combine all these 4, good animal, good friend, good craftsman, good saint, you are considered a complete human being. But most people compromise on any of this, and therefore the quality of the life goes down. So in order for you to prioritize, I would say that make a balance of these things and then choose your priorities. For example, you have 3 things in life, most important things: family duty, professional duty, and devotional duty to God. It's like a tripod. In the tripod, if you remove one of the legs, it will fall. You can't be peaceful. So take time for family, take family and friends, and take time for your profession, and give time to God, because without giving time to God and the sacred scriptures, we won't be able to increase our wisdom quotient without that. So in this way, we can become wiser and wiser and wiser and see the world with good clarity, with good understanding, and not be having a clouded consciousness, and we can lead life wisely with full understanding. All right? Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Sir, thank you so much for each and every word that you have spoke today. Last one was like we were into the another world, and I have a question that you said that we have some purpose, that's why we are here. So can you just elaborate that purpose? Because running behind financial stability, we had forgotten the purpose why we have been here. So kindly, please.
Yeah. So in the Taittiriya Upanishad, there are 5 stages said: Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. So the Annamaya means the children who are newly born, they only think about the food. They eat the food, go to sleep. Again, they eat the food and go to sleep. They don't know anything beyond the food. And then when you grow to the age of 5 or 6 or 7, then you start coming out in the world and competing with the world around you. Even the businessmen are competing, we all know that. They are competing to survive in the market and make more profits and expand the business, and that is like a game, which we can never win and we can never stop playing. It keeps going, that kind of game. That's a pranamaya. Then you come to a manomaya, means what? Whatever things you can't make in life, you dream about them. So we call it a dream job or dream business or dream success. We all are thinking about. That's manomaya. And then when you come to the 4th stage, vijnanamaya we call it, and that is where you understand the difference between spirit and matter. I am not this body. This body and mind are simply covering over my soul. My real identity is I am a spirit soul, and the soul never dies. The soul is eternal, imperishable, everlasting. It's a part and parcel of God, and it is very pure. And anybody can belong to any religion, but in all the people belong. Everybody is a spirit who is one in quality. There is one supreme and plural subordinates, and all the plural subordinates are one in quality. Although we may have different attires and different genders and different things. So that is the 4th stage. And the 5th stage, Anandamaya stage, when we come, then you understand that the goal of life is to awaken our love for God and love for all. That's the purpose of life. And love for God is like a master switch. If you switch it on, then automatically you will love every living being. Because you will see that all living beings are connected with that one Supreme as children. So if you love Him, you can't hate any of His living beings. Yeah. Like for example, if any of you have a sister, when your sister gets married, you like the sister's husband also. And you like the sister's sister's mother-in-law, father-in-law, because everybody is connected to your sister. Similarly, when you love God, you have to love everybody, naturally. You will love all creatures in this world. And once that love is awakened, when there is no enmity with anybody in the world, even this world itself becomes a very happy place for you. So in that, then you will become a spreader of happiness. So I'll tell one English slogan for this. You asked about the purpose of life. So you all can repeat after me. It's a very beautiful statement. May the wicked become virtuous. Please repeat. May the wicked become virtuous. May the virtuous become tranquil. May the tranquil become free. May the free set others free. This is the purpose of life. Is it clear?
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening our minds with your wonderful words. We will surely inculcate the one thing at a time rule in our daily life. Before proceeding further, I am really very happy to share with you all that Radhesham Das ji is the president of ISKCON, Pune, since 1997 with a community of 6,000 members. He is also the Global Duty Officer for West Outreach appointed by GBC of ISKCON.
Radhesham ji has been an IIT Mumbai topper and is the founding director of Voice, that is Vedic Oasis for Inspiration, Culture and Education. He has received the Global Excellence Award for educating youth in Bhagavad Gita.
He has also won Jiva Goswami Award for Innovative Youth Outreach. He has compiled youth books like Stress to Smile and 5-volume Essence of Gita.
He has been training the youth for last 30 years in all the leading IITs, NITs, and reaches out to cities in India and abroad. He has also presented seminars at MIT Boston, Stanford, Caltech, UC Berkeley, UCLA, and other universities in the United States. He has also conducted a corporate seminars at Microsoft, Amazon, Bank of America, Infosys, etc. We again thank you, sir, for your enlightening our mind. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And also, I also wish to extend my warm invitation to all of you. In Katraj Kondo, we have a very big temple in 6 acres. You all are most welcome. And you will find a beautiful garden and fountain, and also the very divine, serene setting. You can sit in the temple hall and do your meditation. You will have a very grand experience there. And along with me, there is Ratnesh ji. And Samesh is a chartered accountancy student, and Ratnesh is already a chartered accountant in our temple. You can just stand up here. So you will find them there when you come. Yeah. So they are helping us with temple activity. And I also want to thank all the organizers for putting up this program. And as a part of your chartered accountancy meeting for the couple of days, this is a spiritual part which they have taken out time for, and I really congratulate them for doing it. Because this is one very essential aspect of any human being's life for calming the mind and being focused in our duties. And I deeply appreciate the organizers for intelligently making a plan to include this program. And I look forward to meeting you all again sometime in future. And you all are welcome to our temple. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the invitation. We will surely come. Thank you. Now, I would like to request CA Amrita Kulkarni ma'am to felicitate our session chairman, Radhesham Das sir. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Now I would like to call upon Mr. Pratik, Joint Treasurer, Pune Vikasa, to deliver the vote of thanks.
I am Pratik Lavande, Joint Treasurer of Pune Vikasa. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to this event. As we all know, we are a CS students. We deal with lot of things at a time. We deal with our studies, our parents, and our principals. And at a time, we can't do a lot of things. We have to concentrate on one thing at a time, as Sir said. So, as our theme, India knowing the way, showing the way, and the India knowing the way, showing the way, and going the way. So, we are a country having history for more than couple of thousands of years. We know how the culture works. We knew how culture works. We know the culture how works, and we cannot. We are showing the world how to behave, how to represent ourselves. As Sir has given many sessions in Western countries, so we are showing the way to the world. I would like to thanks to dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, for being here, and thank you all of my friends for patiently listening to these sessions. Yes.
Thank you, Pratik. And thank you everyone once again for being such a wonderful audience. We hope you all have a great time ahead. Thank you so much. Thank you.